You feel it, don't you? That ache deep inside your chest. The one that never leaves. The betrayal, the abandonment, the laughter they threw at your back while you stumbled through their maze of lies. They wanted to break you. Oh, they wanted to see you crumble into dust. But you didn't know. Instead, they lit a fire inside you. They poured gasoline on it every time they ignored your screams, every time they turned their faces away. And now they've built something they can't control. A monster. Let me ask you something. What's worse? The one who stabs you, or the one who holds the blade and just watches? Think about that for a second. They held the blade, didn't they? They didn't do it outright. No. That'd be too honest for them. Instead, they let you bleed out slowly, pretending they didn't notice the pool forming around their feet. But here's the kicker, kid. They thought you'd lie there forever. They never counted on you getting up. That's where they screwed up. Let me tell you a little story. Imagine a dog, a loyal one, tied to a post. The people around him, his so-called family, throw scraps at him. Just enough to keep him alive, but never enough to fill his belly. One day they stop feeding him altogether. They laugh, thinking he'll just wither away, die quietly in the corner. But instead, that dog snaps. He chews through the rope, turns wild, and when he does, he's not the same anymore. He's hungry, and he doesn't forget who kept him chained. You're that dog, aren't you? You've been chained, mocked, starved of everything you deserved. But now, those chains, they're gone. You're loose, and you've got a hunger they'll never understand. That hunger, that's your power. You don't see it yet, but I do. I see it in your eyes. They're not the same eyes of someone who's broken. They're the eyes of someone who's awake. Listen to me. Weak people fear pain. They run from it, avoid it, like it's some kind of disease. But you walked straight into the fire and came out with scars. Scars are proof, my friend. Proof that you survived what they couldn't. Every single scar on your body, on your mind, is a badge they'll never wear. It's armor. And do you know what scares them the most? You're still standing. Oh, they'll act like they're not scared. They'll still try to laugh at you, belittle you, act like you're just some damaged thing. But deep down, they're terrified of what they've created. They're scared because they know monsters don't follow rules. Monsters don't care about approval. Monsters don't forgive. Think about it. They pushed you to the edge, over and over again. They threw rocks while you were already drowning. And now they're shocked that you don't want to save them from the tide. It's ironic, isn't it? They always call people like you dangerous when you stop bending over backwards for them. But let me tell you something. They don't get to decide who you are anymore. You do. The world loves to talk about forgiveness, about letting go. But why should you forgive people who would burn your house down just to feel the warmth? Why should you let go of what made you stronger? No, you don't let it go. You take it. Every ounce of pain, every betrayal, every time they laughed in your face, and you turn it into fuel. Let them underestimate you. Let them keep thinking you're the same person they tried to destroy. Because when you finally show them who you've become, it won't just scare them, it'll destroy everything they thought they knew. You'll become their nightmare. You've got to stop playing their game. Stop trying to prove yourself to people who wouldn't piss on you if you were on fire. Start proving yourself to yourself. Look in the mirror and ask one question. What's next? Because they already threw their best shot at you, and guess what? You're still here. They wanted to break you, but all they did was show you the cracks in their own masks. Here's the truth. People don't fear the person who falls. They fear the person who gets back up every single time. You've got that in you. I can see it. So stop wasting your energy on people who don't deserve a second thought. Use it to build something they can't touch. Yourself. Remember this, monsters aren't born, they're built. Built by betrayal, by pain, by the very people who thought they were untouchable. And you're the proof. You're not a victim anymore, my friend. You're the thing they'll spend the rest of their lives running from. Let them run. You think the world has rules, don't you? Laws that bind us, some kind of moral framework that keeps everything neat and tidy. That's the first lie they teach you. The rules are just stories, kid. Stories made up by people who have power so they can keep it. They're scared of chaos, scared of things they can't predict, can't control. And you're chaos now. They don't know what to do with you anymore. That's why they'll try to talk you down, try to put you back in the box they built for you. But here's the thing about breaking out of a cage. Once you've tasted freedom, no one can convince you to lock yourself up again. Think back to when this all started. Remember how they whispered behind your back? How they treated you like dirt under their shoes? Every fake smile, every hollow compliment. They were just ways to keep you in line, to make you think you needed them, but now you see it, don't you? You see through the mask, and that terrifies them. You see, people are comfortable with predictable. They like their little routines, their neat little worlds where they can feel important. But when someone like you comes along, someone who's been burned, torn apart, and still refuses to lie down, that shakes them to their core. They don't want to face the reality you represent. Because if you can survive what they threw at you, then what excuse do they have for crumbling under pressure? Let me tell you another story. There was this guy I knew once. Call him Charlie. Charlie was a nobody. worked a dead-end job, barely made rent, and spent every waking moment trying to please people who didn't give a damn about him. Sound familiar? One day, Charlie's boss decided he didn't like Charlie anymore. No reason, really. Just bored, I guess. So he starts piling on the pressure, blaming Charlie for every little thing that goes wrong. Charlie keeps his head down, tries to make it work, but it's never enough. Eventually, Charlie snaps. But not in the way you think. He doesn't storm into the office, doesn't scream or throw punches. No, Charlie does something much scarier. He starts to think. He realizes he's been playing someone else's game all along, and the deck was stacked against him from the start. So Charlie quits, walks out the door without a second glance. Everyone thinks he's crazy. But 6 months later, Charlie's running his own business. Meanwhile, the boss who thought he was untouchable gets canned for embezzlement. The point, kid, is this. When you stop playing by their rules, you force them to face their own weaknesses. You take their power away, and that scares them more than anything. Now let's get to the real question. What are you gonna do? You've got all this rage, all this pain inside you. You can feel it clawing at your chest, can't you? Like a caged animal desperate to get out. But here's the thing, that rage, it's not your enemy, it's your weapon. The world wants you to suppress it, to bury it under a mountain of fake smiles and forced apologies. They want you to believe that anger is bad, that it makes you a monster. But guess what? Monsters get things done. Take that rage, sharpen it like a blade. Use it to carve out your own path, to tear through the lies they've wrapped around you. But, and this is important, don't let it consume you. You've got to control it, not the other way around. A fire that burns too hot can destroy you just as easily as it can destroy them. Balance, kid. That's the key. Be the monster they fear, but never let them see you lose control. Keep them guessing. Keep them scared. They'll call you names. They'll say you're heartless, cruel, maybe even insane. Let them. Their words are just chains they're trying to put back on you. But you've broken those chains already, haven't you? You've tasted what it feels like to be free. Remember this. Every time they try to pull you down, they're just proving that you're above them. People only try to destroy what they can't control. So let them talk. Let them whisper behind your back. While they waste their breath, you'll be building something they'll never understand. You're not the victim anymore. You're not the one begging for scraps at their table. You're the one flipping the table over, setting it on fire, and walking away without looking back. You've got a choice to make, kid. You can spend your life trying to prove yourself to people who'll never care, or you can prove something to yourself. You can let their laughter haunt you, or you can use it as fuel to light the path ahead. But whatever you do, don't go back. Don't let them trick you into thinking you owe them anything, because the truth is, they owe you. They owe you for every tear you shed, every sleepless night, every time they made you question your worth. They wanted to break you, but instead, they built a monster. So, be that monster. Be the thing they fear when they close their eyes at night. Be the reminder that no matter how hard they try, they'll never be able to erase you. Because the greatest revenge isn't just surviving, it's thriving. It's becoming everything they said you couldn't be, and doing it so loudly that they can't ignore you. Go out there. Take everything they said you couldn't have. Build something they can't destroy. And when they come crawling back, begging for forgiveness, remember this moment. Remember who you are now. Oh, you're not tired yet, are you? No, I can see it. There's still fight in you. Good, because we're just getting started. You think this is where your story ends? No, no, no. This is where it begins. Everything before this moment, that was just the prologue. The pain, the betrayal, the humiliation, that wasn't the end of you. That was the foundation. You see, most people, they crumble under the weight of it all. Life throws a few punches and they're down for the count. But you've been hit harder than most. Life didn't just punch you, it beat you into the ground. And yet, here you are, still breathing, still standing. Do you realize how rare that is? People like you, you're 1 in a million. Most people don't have the stomach for it. They don't have the will to claw their way out of the darkness. But you don't just survive the darkness. You thrive in it. You've made it your home, your sanctuary. That scares people. It terrifies them because it means they can't control you. And people hate what they can't control. Let me tell you something about people. They love to wear masks. Not the fun kind like mine, no. I'm talking about the masks they wear to hide who they really are. They pretend to be good, to be kind, to care about you. But peel back the mask, and what do you find? Self-interest, fear, weakness. They'll tell you they want what's best for you, but that's a lie. What they really want is to keep you small, to keep you manageable. Because the moment you start to rise, the moment you show them you're more than they thought, you become a threat. And threats, well, they can't have that, can they? What do? They try to break you. They chip away at you, little by little. A snide comment here, a betrayal there. They push you, test your limits, hoping you'll crack. And if you don't, if you keep standing tall, that's when they really show their true colors. They'll call you names: monster, villain. They'll paint you as the bad guy in their little story because it's easier than admitting the truth. that they're the ones who failed, not you. But here's the thing about being the villain. Villains don't play by the rules. Villains don't care about approval. Villains win. You see, the world isn't kind to people like you and me. It doesn't reward strength or resilience. No, it rewards conformity. It rewards those who keep their heads down, who play along, who never challenge the status quo. But you've already broken free from that. You've already shown the world that you're not like them. And that, my friend, is your greatest weapon. They'll try to use it against you, of course. They'll say you're too much, that you're too angry, too intense. They'll try to shame you into shrinking back into the little box they built for you. But don't you dare let them. Do you know why they hate your anger? Because it reminds them of everything they've suppressed. They hate your intensity because it forces them to confront their own mediocrity. And they hate your strength because it shines a light on their weakness. But you're past caring what they think, aren't you? You've seen the truth. You've felt the knife in your back, the weight of their lies, the emptiness of their promises. And now you're done. Done playing their game. Done living by their rules. That's what makes you dangerous. That's what makes you unstoppable. Here's the thing about monsters. They don't start that way. Monsters are created. They're forged in fire, built from the ashes of everything they've lost. You didn't ask to be a monster. You didn't want this, but they left you no choice. And now you're the thing they fear the most. Not because you're cruel or evil, but because you're free. Free from their control, free from their lies, free from the chains they tried to wrap around you. Let me tell you something about freedom. It's not given, it's taken. You have to fight for it, claw for it, bleed for it. But once you have it, oh, there's nothing sweeter, nothing more terrifying to the people who tried to keep you down. They wanted to break you. They wanted to see you fall apart, to watch you disappear into the void. But instead, you rose. You took their hate, their betrayal, their cruelty, and you turned it into power. And now they're the ones who are afraid. Afraid of what you'll do. Afraid of what you've become. They built a monster, and they don't even realize it yet. But they will. Oh, they will. You don't owe them anything. Not your forgiveness. Not your understanding. Not your time. They made their choices. And now they have to live with the consequences. You're not here to make them feel better about what they did. You're here to make them remember, to remind them of the price of underestimating someone like you. Be the monster they fear. Be the nightmare they can't escape. But most of all, be the reminder that no matter how hard they tried, they couldn't break you. You want me to keep going? Good. Because there's more. You've got to understand. What they did to you wasn't random. Oh no, it was deliberate. They chose you. They picked you apart piece by piece, like a pack of wolves tearing into a wounded deer. Why? Because they could smell it. That strength you have, the thing that sets you apart, it threatened them. Even when you didn't know you had it, they could see it. People like them, they don't attack the weak. They ignore the weak. They go after the ones who make them feel small, the ones who reflect back everything they lack. That's why they came for you, why they chipped away at you, why they threw everything they had to try and bury you. They thought if they broke you, it would prove something to themselves. But all they proved was how fragile they are. And now they've got to live with the fact that their best wasn't good enough. You're still here, still breathing, still ready to fight. And them? They're running scared. Do you know what scares them the most about you? It's not your anger. It's not your strength. It's not even the fact that they couldn't break you. No. What scares them is the simple truth that you don't need them. They spent so much time convincing you that you were nothing without them, that you needed their approval, their validation, their scraps of attention. But now you see the lie for what it is. You've realized you don't need their acceptance. You don't need their fake smiles, their hollow words. And that, my friend, is the ultimate power move. Because once you stop needing them, they lose all their power over you. You're free now. Free to live your life on your terms. Free to chase your goals without their dead weight dragging you down. Free to be everything they were too afraid to be. Let me tell you something about fear. It's a funny thing. Most people think fear is about being scared of something. Spiders, heights, the dark. But real fear is the realization that you've got no control. That's what you represent to them. You're a reminder that control is an illusion. They thought they had you figured out, thought they could predict your every move. But now you're a wild card, unpredictable, unstoppable. And that terrifies them. Because here's the truth they don't want to admit. They need you more than you ever needed them. They need someone to look down on, someone to blame when their lives don't go the way they planned. Without you, they're just ordinary. And ordinary people, they're the ones who fade away into nothing. You're not ordinary. You've never been ordinary. That's why they hated you. Why they tried to tear you apart. They couldn't handle the fact that you were different, that you didn't fit into their little box. But here's the thing about boxes. They're easy to break out of when you stop believing you belong in one. You don't belong in a box. You don't belong in their world of mediocrity and mindless conformity. You're bigger than that, stronger than that. And now you've got the scars to prove it. Every scar tells a story. Every wound you've endured, every battle you fought, it's all written on your skin, in your soul. And those scars, they're not weaknesses. They're not things to be ashamed of. They're badges of honor, proof that you've survived things they never could. Here's what you do next. You take everything they tried to use against you, every insult, every betrayal, every wound, and you turn it into fuel. You burn so brightly that they can't look at you without remembering what they did, without feeling the weight of their own failures. You show them that their worst wasn't enough, that no matter how hard they tried, you're still here, still standing, still stronger than they could ever hope to be. And when they see you rise, when they see you succeed, it'll destroy them. Not because you're cruel, but because they'll realize they had a hand in building the very thing that now overshadows them. You'll be their regret, their shame, their nightmare. And that, my friend, is justice. You're not just surviving anymore. You're thriving. You're taking back everything they tried to steal from you, your confidence, your strength, your sense of self, and you're doing it on your terms. So let them talk. Let them whisper. Let them try to tear you down again, because this time you're ready. This time you've got the armor they gave you, the armor they forged through their own cruelty. They wanted to break you, but instead they built a monster. And now it's your turn. Your turn to take everything they said you couldn't have, to be everything they said you couldn't be. Because the greatest revenge isn't just surviving, it's thriving so loudly that they can't ignore you. It's becoming the person they'll never forget, no matter how much they wish they could. You're not walking away just yet, are you? Good, because we're not finished. You see, the world doesn't want you to realize what you've become. They don't want you to see how much power you hold now. They'd rather keep you blind, stumbling around in the dark, thinking you're still that same broken soul they left behind. But you're not. Oh no, you're something else now. You've been tempered, forged. Do you know what that means? It means they tried to melt you down, to turn you into something they could control. But instead of breaking, you hardened. You became sharper, stronger. And now you've got edges they can't handle. That's the funny thing about pressure. It doesn't just destroy, it creates. Diamonds, steel. You calm? All born from pressure? You didn't just survive it, you mastered it. And now you're dangerous because you know how to wield it. But let me ask you something. What are you going to do with all this power? Are you going to waste it proving something to them? Trying to make them see what they did? Trying to make them apologize? Or are you going to use it to build something bigger, something they can't touch? You owe them nothing. Not your time, not your forgiveness, not even your anger. They don't deserve to live rent-free in your head. But you know who does? You. You deserve to take up every inch of space in that mind of yours. You deserve to focus on yourself, to build yourself up, to become the person they never thought you could be. And here's the beauty of it. They can't stop you. Not anymore. They've already played their hand. They threw everything they had at you, and you're still standing. So what's left for them to do? Whisper, gossip, throw stones from behind their glass walls? Let them. Their noise means nothing now. People like them, they live for reactions. They thrive on the attention, the drama, the chaos they can cause in your life. But do you know what happens when you stop reacting? When you stop giving them the satisfaction? They crumble. They fade into nothingness. Because without you, they're nothing. Let me tell you a secret. Silence is louder than any scream. Your silence, your refusal to acknowledge their existence, it'll echo louder in their minds than any words you could throw at them. They'll spend their nights wondering why you stopped caring, why you stopped giving them the power they used to have over you. And while they're busy losing sleep over you, you'll be out there building a life they can't touch, a life that doesn't include them. That's the ultimate revenge, isn't it? Not the yelling, not the fighting, but thriving, succeeding, being so far out of their reach that they can't even comprehend it. You don't need them to see what they've done. You don't need their apologies, their fake remorse, their empty words. Because here's the thing, they don't matter anymore. They're relics of a past you've outgrown. You're not living for them. You're living for you. And every step you take forward is a step away from the pain they tried to trap you in. Every win, every moment of joy, every achievement, it's all a reminder that they failed. They wanted to break you, to leave you shattered and begging. But instead, they gave you the tools to rebuild yourself into something stronger, something better, something they'll never be able to touch. And now you've got the power, not just over them, but over yourself. You've got the power to choose who you become, to decide what your life looks like from here on out. And that, my friend, is a power they'll never have. You're not a victim anymore. You're not the person they left behind. You're the storm they never saw coming, the monster they built but can't control. And monsters? Oh, we don't play nice. We don't ask for permission. We don't wait for approval. We take what's ours. We carve our own paths, no matter who stands in the way. So go out there and take it. Take everything they said you couldn't have. Be everything they said you couldn't be. And when they see you rise, when they see you standing tall, unshaken, unbroken, they'll finally realize the truth. They didn't break you, they built you, and now they'll have to live with the consequences. Show them what a monster looks like. Show them the power they gave you when they tried to destroy you. And never forget, they wanted to break you, but instead, they built a legend.